more international when it comes to cricket.
Fair. Fair enough. I don't have anything to start, so.
No? All right. Let's start with NATO and the summit. So the Secretary has had a couple meetings today already. I guess summit hasn't yet kicked off, but will tonight. Are you aware that he has heard any concerns from the people that he's spoken to so far about President Biden?
No, I'm not aware of him having heard any concerns.
Have you asked, or are you deliberately trying to avoid?
I talked to him an hour ago, and he did not mention having any concerns with anyone. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, did not mention having heard concerns from anyone.
So he has his own concerns.
No, that is not a fair implication. No, obviously not. He has spoken to this quite clearly. Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, does that mean? Do you know if they've come up? Have they come up with?
They have not.
Anyone else?
They have not come up in. I can't speak for anyone else all around the government, obviously, but no, I'm not aware of anyone raising concerns with the Secretary or anyone else from the State Department about the president. What we consistently hear from allies and partners around the world when we travel the world and when people come here is that they are grateful for the leadership the president has shown, in this case when we talk about NATO, in expanding NATO and convincing allies to raise their collective support for NATO's defense and deterrence measures, and his leadership in rallying an international coalition to push back on Russia's aggression in Ukraine, among many other foreign policy measures.
Okay, and then is there any State Department component to the aid package that's supposed to be announced today that you're aware of?
So I don't want to get it. It's a nice way to try to get me into talking about something that has not yet been announced. So, let me answer it elliptically. So, elliptically. So there will be new air defense capabilities announced during this summit, both by the United States and by other countries. There will be other new defense commitments announced, and of course, the State Department does play a role in all of those.
Right. Well, other than I think that at this event this morning, he said something about $7 million in protective gear equipment for Ukrainian women's armed forces. Is there so you're saying that beyond that, there will be beyond the U.S. component of that, there will be more from state.
Yeah, we will be announcing across the government, and some of that will include State Department components, political, economic, and military measures to support Ukraine. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The 7 million. Sorry, apologies. The 7 million Secretary said is it NATO countries. So how much of it is the US?
Let me get details to you offline.
I have another one second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering if you have any, if the final communique has been finalized or definitively, the wording that the NATO summit leaders would give to Ukraine on this bridge. You guys call it a bridge to membership. There's talks. There's some capitals, the Baltic states specifically. They want the word irreversible in the final communique. My understanding that it's been negotiated. Can you say where it stands?
I obviously don't want to say what the final communique will say. There are pieces of the communique that continue to be worked on and negotiated, which is usual for the summit, right? There's a lot that comes in those NATO communiques. You've seen them before, and some of that goes right up to the last minute. I will say that a significant amount of time has gone into discussions about the wording about Ukraine's path to membership. The Secretary talked with President Zelensky directly about this when we were in Ukraine several months ago. It was a significant portion of discussion at the NATO foreign ministers meeting last month that the Secretary attended in Prague. And of course, it has been the subject of ongoing discussions between our building and other NATO members. And of course, Julie Smith, our ambassador to NATO, being in the lead on that over the past few weeks. I will say, I think we have landed in a place, and you all see this when the language comes forward, that makes clear, as we have said, that that Ukraine's future is in NATO. And the communique will make that very clear, and you'll all get to see the language and talk about it when it's publicly released.
I mean, is it still being negotiated, to your knowledge?
There may be pieces of that part we have largely, I will just say that language we have largely settled on. There are other pieces of the communique, and maybe some smaller pieces of that piece of it that we're still negotiating as well. That part is largely settled, yeah. Hey,
Thank you. Can I move on?
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't think you were going to ask me a NATO question when I called on you. So.
I do have my NATO questions, but let's talk about that. Okay.